Okay, my father was the traditional speak only when spoken to, and obey, and just do whatever you're supposed to do, and uh, you should be seen, not heard. He's very open to when with people he trusts or he's close to. I noticed that he likes to rely heavily on his gut feelings, but there's a lot of suspicion in him. He's always doubtful of the intentions of other people. Like, don't trust first, find out first. Then later on, if they prove to be like trustworthy, reliable, okay, then so be it. He did mention that one of the more important creeds, if not the most important creeds he had, is hung on the wall somewhere in the home. He did say that on a few occasions when we were all asleep and he happened to be awake and he looked up and he saw the crease from his room, that it was wobbling or moving. And then he said it happened a few times, or I don't know how many times, and he said that he felt that it was like trying to protect the home or the family against someone who had sent something bad.
Is there anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
Sometimes he would talk about things that he could not have known, that, for example, where I was or something. I could conclude that he's probably psychic to a certain extent. There was this thing about the doppelganger. Sometimes he would be watching TV at home. I'd be on night duty, for example, outside the house, and sometimes he would think that I was like, I had come to the hall to look at the TV or something. He insisted that he had looked from the side of his eyes that I was standing next to him. But of course, then he realized I was on night duty, I was not at home lah. So it happened a few times. I don't know what to make of it, because to him it really happened, and each time, and mysterious lah, that kind of thing. He was talking about sometimes when he's doing his work, sometimes he's at night at the jetty, so everything is dark, and he would see dark figures, maybe one dark figure at the end of the jetty, and he was wondering what it was about. Maybe it was just somebody there, normal human being, or was it something not human? He would just speculate. So all in all, he may have had his own experiences, but he didn't say much. I'm the only son, or the only child. I'm the only child.
And
yeah.
Your mom's alive?
Yeah, she is. She's in her room right now.
Okay.
She's also very conflicted in what she has to say about him, her feelings, her thoughts. He has his own opinions, and he wanted us to follow his way of thinking. And furthermore, it's like the world is bad. He wants to protect his family, do the right thing. But he ends up saying that, we have to follow his way of thinking. So it's like along the way, as time goes by, it's like, it seems rather cultish that he's the leader and he knows best, and we better follow him because he knows best. And in fact, many of his friends who are related to the occult, they were like a few years ago, and then those were like, I don't know how many years ago lah. And whether he kept in touch with them, I'm not sure. But my suspicion is that at least for the last few years before he died, he may have stopped contact with them. The doctors diagnosed him as having aortic infarct, which is a heart condition. And they say, this was in 2018. Oh, he has only 3 days to live. Then after that, they realized, no, my senior called me. Actually, after 3 days, he's still alive. They sent him to SGH, from Changi to SGH, and he continued normally for 2 weeks. As per normal for 2 weeks, and was discharged, and then he continued to live for another 1 more year before he died. But he died from aneurysm of the left lower limb. It was internal bleeding, and they concluded it was probably from some leak in the left knee. They could not be sure. Is that supernatural? I don't know. Before he died, they called me. There was a 3+ in the morning to rush down. They said, your father is very sick. But I knew that they actually meant he's passing away or had already passed away. So I will rush down. I had a huge problem at the so-called gantry on the ground floor of the Changi General Hospital, one of the buildings, and they could not open the turnstile. They agreed, yes, your ward has agreed that you should come up now. We are allowing you in now. But they could not open the turnstile. They could not operate. Nothing was operating. They were very, very. They were amazed and were wondering what's going on. Very strange that the turnstile, the gantry, whatever, could not open up to let me in. They were meddling with all the computers. They tried the keys. They tried everything, but it just wouldn't work. Then suddenly, somebody meddled with something. It worked after so many tries, and they felt it was very strange. And when of course, he already passed on, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure was there any significance in that incident. After he died, I smelled strong incense coming in. This was like after cremation. Cremation was late in the afternoon. Then at midnight, same day, from my room window, I smelled very strong sense of incense. Later in the next morning, I would look around to see if anyone had been burning things or incense. There was no evidence of such things, and it was very strong. And my conclusion that something spiritual was happening lah. And then I could feel someone touching my back. This was like 1 or 2 days later, touching my back and like as if like trying to get my attention. It occurred a few times lah. It was not frightening. It's just like it's very obvious somebody was touching me, but I'm alone in the room, so you know. But my impression was that he came back for a while and then he left lah. You know. In a hospital where I was working, someone saw my doppelganger. I was on night duty and then it was quite strange. There was thunderstorm. Something prompted me to play the Thai Buddhist Kata Chinabanjon on replay. This colleague, she was on duty with me and she suddenly burst into the room and said, can you just go in the dormitory because I need to go on urgent break. And I said, what happened? Then she said, we'll talk about it later. And then I was on the way in, I looked out the window, it was very dry. The thunderstorm had suddenly stopped and everything was very dry, so what was that all about? And I went in and my subordinates, one of them was telling me that she saw someone, thought she saw me walking in the dormitory and then going to the end. And she of course followed, but she realized when she reached the end that there was nobody, I was not there. There was one other patient who was there, but he was sound asleep. I had disappeared. And if I used the back door, she would have noticed it because it's so straight down. So then later on when she went to tell me I was going on break, she saw me in the doctor's room. So that wasn't me then. Who was that? So that was, and then there were a few other occasions offhand that people saw my doppelganger or thought they saw my doppelganger. Hello, good evening, Master.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
When Stephen first contacted me, he was inquiring about the proper ways of disposing his father's collection of spiritual artifacts because his father had passed away without leaving Stephen any instructions on how to care for the spirits. I sent the photos Stephen had sent me of his father's collection to a few of my friends who are sensitive to such things, and each replied that there are indeed things in these objects. This was clearly above my pay grade, so I called Guru Murali in to take a look, and perhaps to find a way to invite the spirits out of the house without offending them. Stephen further collected religious icons across a variety of faiths from reliable sources, and these contained sentient energy, unlike the ones sold at souvenir shops.
This Jatukam from Thailand.
Thailand?
Jatukam lah, Ramatap, the south of Thailand. A few years ago when I got it, when I first burned the incense, the smoke will go right into the statue, as if the statue is actually sucking in. This one is from the Butterfly King, Kruba Krisana. He came to Singapore, so he signed it and blessed it personally lah. And this is like my Rishi altar lah. I met this Rishi who comes to Singapore. I forgot his name lah, but
Praise to Lucy.
yeah. So these are the.
Japanese doll as well? What does this doll signify?
I really don't know. My father collected it, so what it is all about, I really don't know.
It's like a warrior kind of a thing.
Item here is the Chris, this Chris, and then my father like treated it with special care lah, you know. So I would think that it has some special meaning for him or value. I don't know lah, you know.
This Chris radiated very strong energy. Guru Murali made contact with the entity and learned that it's the Penunggu, the guardian of the house. We stated our intentions and it gave us permission to proceed.
So like some of these items, like what to do with them, you know, or whether I should, you know. And then here's some more Chris here.
Your father was doing any form of business?
Yeah, he was into seawater collection, partly like maintenance of a marine aquarium, and partly to supply seawater to those farms, you know, who maintain sea
How was his
fishes.
business and everything?
Like this mysterious one, I'm not sure what it's all about. What should I do, you know? Like, and then one of my friends came the other day and he said that he felt that this one was quite bad.
This room was a whirlpool of conflicting energy. When I tried opening my senses to tap into the place, I got a freaking headache. It felt like walking into a maximum security prison cell and the inmates are on the loose.
Few weeks ago, on 2 or 3 occasions, I did the burning of the incense and then passed the items through lah. Just a few times, like some form of offering lah. But I felt, I don't know whether I should be doing it or not doing it. I had my doubts, and then especially the big one, I was like very careful to give proper incensing and everything. Then I was told this one don't lah, because my friend sense that this is very negative. Yeah. This set here, and then the one on the wall is the most positive, according to him lah, because that's the king here, or like subordinate to him lah. This one seems to be nice.
Gentle one.
Gentle one.
It has a more feminine energy.
Right.
Stefan brought out other crests of different sizes and with different entities attached to it. Some female, some male. The crest has its roots in Central Java, Indonesia. Oftentimes made of iron, it is used mostly in spiritual ceremony today than as a weapon. Owning a crest is no small matter, and most Javanese families have at least one crest at home, passed down through the generations as a sanctified heirloom, or pusaka as it's called in Indonesia. My sense is that Stefan's father must have bought this crest off a dealer who had taken it off families who no longer wish to partake in this ancient tradition.
Like the meteor stone like that also.
I really don't know.
You got a lot of.
I suspect that was how it went.
There were even more items that Murali and I have never seen before. If I ever start an occult museum one day, I know just the supplier to look for. Just as I thought things couldn't get worse, Stefan opened the doors to the next cupboard and we all immediately felt a change in the environment. I felt a cold sensation in my chest as if some unseen force had walked right through me.
You can feel
Yeah, it's quite strong.
I recognize this as the character Arjuna depicted in Indonesian puppet shows in the retelling of the Mahabharata. The Javanese wayang kulit and the Sudanese wayang golek are traditional art forms in Indonesia, much like the Chinese wayang that we know of in Singapore, popular during the 7th month Hungry Ghost Festival. I learned from a Balian that wayangs in Indonesia have a deep spiritual connection. It is used to honor the ancestors, and prayers are done before the wayang to invite ancestral spirits into the puppet.
My father likes to talk about Sema.
No, there's no.
The Sema, the Indonesian fat deity.
Wah, remuk awake karemu. Ya wis ben wae iki senengane ngopo to? Heeh. Kowe arep dikai jaket rek karo sapa?
Samar, he is a god clown. If you ever wondered why the universe is strange, it's because the first principle was a clown. He got this big belly when he was trying to swallow a great world mountain. And people say that this little funny thing, his kunchung, it's the axis on which the universe turns. He has a black body to represent the night, white face to represent the day. He's half male and he's half female. This particular character was sent down into the world to serve the righteous forces, and he also represents the voice of the little people. Therefore, in any performance, the Dalang will hold him up and speak as if he's coming from the village. I come from Santa Cruz. Therefore, if I'm doing a performance, I'd say, I'm booing, what a day, what a day. I just drove down from Santa Cruz coming here to the Asian Art Museum. Oh, the traffic jams. I cannot tell you. The fog, the cold, San Francisco. But that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is I'm a clown. And that may seem like I don't know nothing. And I'm a nobody and a know-how. But, you know, us little guys, we got something up here too.
I will die sooner or later, or whatever, something may happen, and who's going to look after them? And should I be looking after them and then passing them to someone? What is actually the correct or wisest decision lah,
If we want to discard them also, we have to seek their permission, we have to find them a new housing, new place and everything to give them assurance that they will be taken care. So When we are taking over them, then we become the new master for them. And we become the heavier responsibility that we have to look after them. Is I think the best possibility until one by one we work, because we cannot work with everything at the same time.
Correct. Because it's different entities, different energy patterns, different relation.
Yes, and we will be very confused.
As Murali and Stefan were discussing how to remove the objects from his home, we felt a strong pull from the crease on the wall, as if it was trying to communicate. Murali had a moment with the Penungu, the spirit within the crease, in which we learned that it felt angry and disrespected. Murali managed to appease the spirit by negotiating some truce, by offering to perform a proper ritual for entities to be relocated. The good news is that most of these entities residing in Stefan's house are not malicious, other than some of the objects that have conflicting negative vibrations or containing spirits that are considered low-powered. Most of the other artifacts contain guardian spirits. The bad news is that the confluence of conflicting energies, and without the proper knowledge to take care of these entities by way of offering kemenyan or incense or chanting of mantra or whatever else that's required, it is going to cause an upheaval in Stefan's life.
Yeah. So at work, more aggressive, but the aggressiveness is more of the rough type. No, very rough type of aggressiveness, not the proper kind of aggressiveness. Assertiveness is different from aggressiveness. So this one is more aggressive.
Even after we have moved out of things, when we identify that these items can be protective or beneficial for your home and everything, then definitely they will run it way back.
Okay, I see.
But
Got it.
give you my assurance also that you will be taken care properly. Because this one
Yeah. Before we left, Stefan had one more room to show us. Just like his father, Stefan too have an interest in the mysticism and keeps Kumantong spirits in his bedroom. Kumantongs are spirits of children who had died at birth. It is believed that they will bring luck and fortune to the owner if taken care of properly. In return, the owner bestows merits upon them for reincarnation.
Yeah, the one you show me now, the picture.
Yeah, the pictures. Sometimes they would suck up the bandung, I offer bandung, and then one cup will become white the next day.
Oh.
And sometimes this cup or this cup will come white. And sometimes both cups will come white.
The other object in his room is a pranan, a mountain spirit originated from Cambodia that dates back to the Ayutthaya period in the 1300s. It is known to have high in or negative energy and used in defense against other black arts.
It's not the Cambodian, the Thai, the Chinese, the Taoists and the Buddhists. Indonesian. Any Indian?
Yeah.
If they are there, then they are complete set.
Then under that statue there, just here, on your left,
Yeah.
put it down.
For Ganesha, yeah, okay, we have the complete set now.
Shiva, Ganesha.
Yeah, Shiva, Ganesha, and the Baba, okay.
Sai Baba.
So we have the complete Asian spiritual practice.
Complete.
Complete.
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.